All right, we're recording, Marc. Welcome to the show. It's really cool for me to have you on because, like I was saying beforehand, I read Marc's book, the life. What is the power? I'm saying it wrong. The life change.
The life-changing power of gratitude. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I read that book recently, and it really hit home for me. I've read a lot about gratitude, and I've tried to practice myself, but I don't know why. But your book really resonated with me.
Oh,
You still there?
I'm there. You
Okay.
got frozen here a moment. I don't, but it says it's my internet connection,
Uh,
unfortunately. Although,
It's all right. He's in Spain right now. I'm in my closet in Florida. So, but it's really cool to have you on. And what I thought would be cool is to talk about a lot of this stuff. You write about gratitude, you write about habits, and you personally went from jobless to a best-selling author.
yeah,
Now, here's what happens when I read that book. I'm like, okay, I could do this. I can read these things and implement it. But then part of me is like, I don't know if I can do that, what Marc did. And I want this to appeal. We have a lot of CrossFit coaches. We have CrossFit athletes. They hear that, and it's like anyone. You see Tony Robbins talks about all you have to do is think positively. Is it that easy?
no, it's not that easy. But I can tell you, if I can do it, really anybody can do it because I'm like just a normal guy. I worked in a normal job. I got fired in 2013. At the end of 2013, I was always reading personal development, but I was never doing. I was never applying it. And I also have a coaching training. I did a coaching training, so I'm a life coach. And there, and with all the books I read about personal development, I noticed that there are many exercises that if you really do them for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, they really work, like the gratitude, which we'll come back to, or writing down your goals or whatever. So, but the only thing is that people don't do it. They don't apply it. They give up too early because they don't see results right away and things like that. So that's how I got the book. And it's really then I proved it to myself during my life because I'm doing these habits I'm writing about, not all the 90 all the time, but I looked at I always can do 5 or 6. Gratitude is always there. And it really works. And it's also what you said, it's not so easy to be positive. And sometimes just being positive is also not enough. We also have to accept that life is like this. Life is like a roller coaster. And when I'm sad and not walking around, I'm happy. No, I admit to myself that I'm sad. I try to work it out. I say, okay, why? What happened? Why am I reacting to a situation like this? But also, sometimes when you need a little bit of power, like when you need to get through the day, there are little tricks, like faking a smile like this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you do this, like with a pen or something in your mouth, but in your brain thinks you're actually something good is happening because all the muscles in your face are doing the same thing. So your brain will start putting out all those hormones, happiness hormones. So this is a patch, yeah, that can help you through a rough day. But at the end of the day, I always advocate. I mean, like really reflect, allow your emotions. Don't suppress your emotions. But these are little tricks that you can do, and that's why we come right back to gratitude. Gratitude is like the single best habit or exercise to do, because you can't be sad and grateful at the same time. You
So
can't be you can't be envy, have envy and grateful at the same time. So gratitude is like a little bit the antidote to all those painful emotions, which are totally okay, which we have them. But the more gratitude we practice, the better, the more resilient we get. Also the difference between happy people and unhappy people is not that ones are unhappy all the time and are sad and the other ones aren't. It's that happy people, they recover quicker from the painful emotions. That's the only secret. And gratitude is a big help with that. And it's training. I mean, I'm talking to trainers here too. You're coaches, you train your body, and it's the same thing really. I mean, you don't get in a top shape right now because you're doing it for 7 days. You probably do it for 2 years or 3 years, and with our mind, it's kind of the same. And it's also the same. There are always setbacks, or sometimes things don't work, or sometimes you're training, but it's not working as well as on other days. So it's all the same. I think the most important thing is consistency, and just keep on working, yeah?
Well, you said so many great things there. And I think one thing you said that I don't want to overlook is it's okay to be sad. I think so
Yes,
many people get sad and then they beat themselves up for being sad instead of just accepting,
absolutely.
maybe thinking about something they are grateful for to help them. And I like that also. It's not that you can't be sad. It's just that if you're grateful, you get out of that funk, out of that spiral a little bit faster.
A little bit faster, yeah. And the thing is really, and it's great that we talk about it, because there's so many misunderstandings, and I get confronted with it a lot when I go on national radio. They say, yeah, you write self-help, you say people should always be positive, and then everything is good. I'm like, no, I mean, of course, a positive attitude helps, but sometimes it's just not so possible. So then I have like 20 or 30 dark days a year, like 10% of my time I'm not really happy, but then I reflect. Sometimes I do gratitude to get out of it. Sometimes I just even don't want to do gratitude. I just want to be a little bit like, because it's sometimes you just have to like accept what I said, accept it. At the end you get out of it better and you feel like better.
I remember people ask me what was a time in your life you really remember, and for me it was a bad breakup. And rather than trying to rebound and get out of it happy, I spent 30 days on my couch watching romantic comedies, crying, and it's what allowed me to get over it, and it really changed me for the better.
Exactly. To me, it happened also. Same thing, bad breakup. And my best friend, I was living with my best friend. He was like on day one after the breakup, he was like, no, let's go out, let's go party. And I was like, look, I'm handling things different. I will now be sad for a week. I need this, to clean everything out. And then in a week or 2 weeks, we go out like never before. But now please leave me my time to, also of being sad, of to deal, because it's to deal with it, And when we try to overplay our sadness with saying we are happy or something, it gets worse, because the sadness will come sooner or later. So if we try to cover the sadness, sooner or later it will come out even worse.
Like a Band-Aid rather than
Exactly. So
actually fixing it.
what's important to know, so you are in control of it. You can get out of sadness when you want, when you see it's good for you. You have the techniques. Gratitude is the most simple thing. If you would just remember, and if you read the book, you know it. So what a difference a day makes if you wake up and say, oh no, my God, now I have to go to work, and you think of everything that goes bad. Or if you wake up and you have your gratitude list of all the things in your life that you can be grateful for. And it can even be a bad breakup, because this bad breakup made you a better person. And then you read this, how does they change? It's completely different day. So you have the tools.
That's a really good point too. Sometimes we're only grateful for the things we envision as positive, rather than, I'm a big proponent of these negative things in your life are what brought you here. Without that breakup, I wouldn't be married to my wife. So
look at this.
So what you said earlier, and this is true for CrossFitters. We mostly CrossFitters listen to this. If you've not done CrossFit, Marc, go check one out in Spain. But
I have one 300 meters over there. I have one. I didn't go there, so probably you will convince me. Yeah, is it?
Well, I've been to Nuremberg. I've been to my buddy owns one in Nuremberg as well. I know you're from Germany, so yeah, it's the best fitness training out there. But
wow,
too many CrossFitters only focus on the fitness. That's it. And I read your book because this year my goal is to read 100 books. I found yours, and I was like, okay, I want to read this as well. And for me, it's been actually less time at the gym, more time developing myself, be it reading, gratitude, meditation. So say someone is listening and they're like, okay, I do need to expand. Where can they start? And sure, read Marc's book. It's an easy read. It's 2 hours maybe sitting down, paying attention. You do all the drills, and I'll put the links up for his worksheets. His worksheets are great as well. But where can somebody listening say, okay, what do I start with, be it habits or gratitude?
Exactly. I mean, the easiest thing would be, and I said many times I get contacted by people who are at a low point of their life, and they ask me, Marc, what should I do? And I say, look, I don't know, because I've never been in that situation. But start with gratitude, because gratitude has something magical, and it's scientifically proven, and you're probably noticing it all if you're doing the gratitude every day. So scientifically proven, it makes us more optimistic. It makes us see more opportunities, which is very important for, the more opportunities you see, the more you will seize automatically, even if you won't seize a lot. Now you will sleep better, you will become more positive, you will have less headaches and all this. So gratitude is such an amazing thing, because it's like if it was a pill, everybody would buy it. So that's one thing. If you don't know where to start with gratitude. I would always do that.
But
Then the other thing,
could you be more specific when you say start with gratitude?
Okay, yeah, it's so easy as only writing down three things that you are grateful for every day.
First thing in the morning?
Yep, first thing in the morning, or last thing in the evening, or both. That's even better. And then also, it's important when you write it down, also feel the gratitude, like when you write down, and it can be small things like, today I went to drink a coffee in a nice park, and then really like feel how grateful you are for that moment. So that's 3 things a day. And this exercise, doing it for 4 weeks, it will change already things in you. It will rewire your brain a little bit, because you will be focus. When you focus on something, you see more of it. So when you focus on things you are grateful for, you will see more things you are grateful for. So for example, I'm writing now 10 things every morning, and I could write 15, because my brain is now so trained on I'm just grateful for everything. I'm even grateful for a rainy day today, although it's a shitty weather here, but it's like, yes, good for something. I feel like comfy here in my living room. So gratitude is a lot. Then for the other habits, because people also often ask me, say, Marc, you have 90 habits in your book, and which one should I start with? And like, start with the one that comes most easiest to you. This is not a competition. It's just it's you. So, and when you start with the habit that comes easiest for you, you will get little small wins quickly. Because if you start with the habit to go running every day 30 minutes, that can be a little bit tough, and maybe you will fail a couple of times. But if you start with the habit to drink 1 glass of lemon water every morning after brushing your teeth, that's a habit that you can implement quite quickly. And then after 5 or 10 days, you go to the next one, and you already have this win. You already had one small habit in there, which what they say is, I don't know your view on it, but they say that drinking like a water with a little bit of lemon and first thing in the morning is like a very great thing to do. And if you do it for 2 or 3 months, you will see health benefits. So really small habits. Second thing is, make it as easy as possible.
I do that. I drink lemon water every morning, and I don't think it was your book. I was reading another habit book. I forget which one, and people were training for a 5K, and they lumped people into people that had to run every day, and then people that the first thing they did was stand during commercials. That's it. And the people that started slowly, like you just said, more of them completed the 5K at the end, because the habit was sustainable.
Exactly. The big secret is, because we are all, sometimes I think we're taking it too serious. We all take it like we think we have to start with the biggest habit first, and if we fail, then we are already failures, and we don't try it for the next year. And I'm always saying to my people, say like, take it more easy, start with the most easiest. And then if you fail once or twice, it also doesn't matter, as long as you go back to it. Because if you see it in the long term, if you see it in a year, if you do a habit 5 times a week, in a year, that's 260 times you did it. Whatever habit it is, that's still better than 0. It's not 360, but 260 is not so bad. And because it happened to me before, it was like, okay, now I failed after 10 days, after 10 attempts, and now I'll leave it.
Right.
And that's 10. But if I would just go back and say, okay, it's also a little bit about being nice to oneself, not to be too perfectionistic, also to forgive oneself and say, okay, well, I failed once, I'm a human, or I failed twice, now I'm going to go back to it. Because seen over a year, I'll still make a lot of great improvements.
So I want to talk a little more about you. You went from jobless to an international bestseller. most people, that's too much. That's like, I can't do that. And, other people, I look at like a Conor McGregor. You know who Conor McGregor is?
Yeah,
He,
yeah,
he's someone who believes exactly what you're saying. I'm reading Muhammad Ali's biography. All these people that
yeah.
we look up to are basically people that just do exactly what you're saying, and we look at them at such a high level, but we don't realize they got there. And you did the same. What was it like for you? What were those first steps like? I mean, you're jobless. It wasn't overnight you wrote all these
No,
books. So what,
no. That's exactly the first thing that came to my mind when you were talking. It's like it took me 5 years. And the
right.
fun thing is, yeah, the thing, because we never give ourselves 5 years. We want everything now, I mean, I want to be like Marc in 3 months. That's not possible. But in 3 years, it is more or less possible. And I started small steps. It was just a lot of small steps, it was like, in my case, it was studying self-publishing. Then the idea of the book was building a matter. Of course, I had all the time in the world. The most important excuse, I didn't have it. The excuse, I don't have time. I couldn't sell myself because I had all the time of the world. I was jobless. So I used it to study. Since I left my job, I have 8-hour days. Even when I was jobless, I was trying to study or to research 8 hours a day. So I knew I needed this discipline. If not, I don't know where I would have ended up. So I needed this discipline to work every day. And then it was like small steps. I didn't set out to say, okay, now I'm going to write a best-selling book. And then I was like, I'm going to write 500 words a day or 1,000 words a day. And then it became a book. And then it was a book that didn't sell. So I did a promotion, and then I did another promotion. I did another promotion. I was so close to giving up so many times, you can't even believe it. And then, but still, I always came back, regrouped, analyzed, and then things started to happen. I got on the right promotion. Suddenly, I had 40,000 downloads on Amazon. So I got in the Amazon bestseller list with all the big guys, with Tim Ferriss.
Yeah, see, looking on your site, you were like number 15, right near, some highly, renowned authors.
Yeah, incredible. But the thing is, it all happens. And then I just went on, and there were bad times again when I didn't sell again. So I studied again. What can I do to sell more books? Where can I concentrate on? That's maybe the best takeaway. In the worst times, when sometimes I didn't know what to do, when you get really overwhelmed or something, I just always regrouped and said, what's the next one step I have to do? Yeah, not think about, what's the next step? And you could actually go very far just when you always do just the next step. It takes you a long time, always with giving yourself time. It took me 5 years. Nothing happens quickly, at least in my experience. But I noticed it got better and better, and then more doors open, because it's kind of exponential. The beginning is oftentimes harder than, I think it may be the same in CrossFit, right?
That's exactly what I was going to say. We have a style of workout that we call chipper, which means you chip away one thing at a time. One of the biggest ones is called Filthy 50s. There's 10 movements of 50 reps. And if you look at the big picture, like, I can't do this. This is too hard. But if you're like, hey, I just have to start and I have to do this first exercise, now all of a sudden you're on the second, third. By the time you realize that you're done. And too many people, I'm on my third book, and people say, how do you do it? And my answer is 200 shitty words a day.
Exactly.
Which never is where I stop, but it's like, no matter what, I write down 200 words, and then you have to just break down that task. I think Tim Ferriss talks about it a lot. Just kind of think about one task at a time.
Exactly.
For a lot of these listeners, and I'm a big proponent of it. My wife and I went to UPW with Tony Robbins recently, and we're big proponents of a morning routine.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What does your morning routine look like?
My morning routine, I have various. When I'm on the top productive, I get when I'm writing or something, I need to be on the top of my game. I get up at 5:30. I do a walk of half an hour to clear my head already. Then I do a little meditation of 10-15 minutes, maybe just breathing, just relaxing, nothing mystical. Oftentimes it's even a guided meditation of somebody telling me something, and I'm just there. And then I start with the gratitude, of course. I write down 3 3 things I'm grateful for, and I plan my day. I get all my things together and plan really the, let's say 3 to 5 tasks that I want to do today. And it's great because when you get up so early, when I do that, and I get up at 5 o'clock, at 3 o'clock I'm bored. Because first of all, I mean, at this time from 5 to 10, I'm like double or 3 times more productive than on a normal day. So sometimes I laugh when people at 9 o'clock, when I see people get to work, I think to myself, I'm really half done. I'm ready to, and then at 3 o'clock, I don't know what to do anymore. That's like when I'm really productive. And when I'm like a little bit more relaxed, and I get up at 7 or 6:30, but more or less the same. Maybe skip the walk, maybe do the walk a little bit afterwards. Well, what I never skip is the gratitude and the planning of my day. And also in the last thing at the night, just before like turning off my computer, I already make a little plan on what do I want to get done tomorrow, because this is awesome. I write it in my book. In my personal experience, I live it. I don't know if you have comparable experience, but if I write down my plan for tomorrow, what do I want to do tomorrow? It's like when I sleep, I already prepare myself in my dreams, and it's like I'm getting up and I know exactly where to go. And when I don't do this, then the morning is like, well, I'm getting up. Now I'm looking at my emails. Oops, already 10 a.m. So not as much, not as streamlined. So it's also a good thing before going to bed, like planning a little bit out the next day.
Yeah, and I like about your evening routine in the worksheet is you kind of also reflect on what happened well today.
Yes.
So you can, things that went well, but also you're not above knowing things could have gone better. What could I have done better?
Yeah, exactly. That is something I got from a client I was doing. That was one of my first clients like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And I was doing this exercise with him, and he said, I need something else. I need something else. I need to also to look at what I haven't done so well, but without beating myself up. And I said, great, I will put that in my ritual too. And this is like to say, okay, what could I have done better today? Always like the words a little bit positive, because beating yourself up about what you did wrong will not help. But it really helps, because then, for example, if I had a fight with somebody or something, I write down, I could have been more patient, or I could have shut up, just like swallow it or something. And it's so great because it gives you great perspective. And then maybe next time it helps you to react better in a situation like that. Sometimes it doesn't help and you will go just the same again. But also over time, you're learning a lot, because if you're reading it every time, I mean, nothing like journaling. When you read it every time, and then maybe on a Saturday, I would read again everything of the week just to go over it again. And then you can see your patterns, you can see your reactions, and then it helps you also to react better the next time.
Well, one thing we promote to all of our coaches is after you coach a class, stop and evaluate how you did. And it's no different than this. It's
Absolutely.
Not just the last hour, but maybe, the last 16, 17 hours. But if you're not trying to improve, you're not going to get better. You're going to keep making the same mistakes.
As a life coach, I also did this when I have sessions. I also do it like I'm evaluating myself. Where did I listen? Where did I? So really, I mean, so if I would have to resume, the best is like really, and it's really also because I'm investigating a lot about self-esteem, about people relationships, about credit, and the basis is most of the times is like self-reflection. Like everything starts with self-reflection, everything, even self-esteem or goals or happiness, everything starts with that, like to look inside you and say, what do I really want? Or also analyzing yourself, where I'm doing well, where can I improve? So this is one thing, self-reflection, gratitude. I wrote this book about gratitude because I noticed because my main book, my best-selling book is 30 Days, Change Your Habits, Change Your Life, which I came out 4 years ago. And since then, whenever I was asked, Marc, which is the habit you like most? Or what do you think is the biggest ingredient to your success? It was gratitude. So the more grateful I got, the better my life got. It's really amazing. That's why it has something magical, at it. So last year I was sitting there, and then I just said, yeah, man, I gotta write a book about gratitude, because it's just so important, and that's why it's a very small book. But I just wanted to put everything in there, everything I ever said about gratitude, everything that maybe like to really describe it so that everybody can do it. And you saw it, there's even something, so because sometimes we are not in the mood to be grateful. Sometimes we want to also have a little bit of self-pity, and it's okay also. But still, the solution is gratitude.
Yeah, I mean, as I read the book, one thing that really resonated, other than the drills are super easy, is being grateful for those hard times. That was really one thing. I had a few hard times that I look back and you're sad, or you're still grieving, and realizing those things shape you, those things,
Yeah,
one thing doesn't change in your life, and then all of a sudden it's a completely different life. If you never lost your job, we wouldn't be talking right now.
exactly.
And
I would still be in Germany, yeah. Because the first time I was jobless, I was in Germany. And then I decided to move to Barcelona. And now I'm living in Barcelona, Spain, which is one of the greatest cities. And I just talked with my mother about it a couple of weeks ago, because we passed hard times also from my youth. My life was not a walk in the park, and her life also. And she said, it's like incredible, because all the negative things that have happened to me, at the end, they had something positive. It might take like a year, 2 years, 5 years to find it out, but you look back and you're like, yeah, actually, thank God, it's what you said, And so I like the positive better. I like the nice life better. But if like shit hits the fan, it's okay. I mean, and it's also something for me when I'm going through hard times. I always remember, it's like, I did it once or I did it 5 times. I will do it. I will come out of it this time again. I can be resilient once, and you get better at it also. The more times you pass through these situations, you get better at it. Get more resilient. And this is maybe a great comfort for people who are listening to us now who are in a bad situation. Really, something is there. There's really something positive is hidden there. And maybe you don't see it now, but maybe in a half a year, or in a year, you will see it, and you will be grateful for it.
Yeah, I think for some reason, people always assume the worst is going to happen. But when you take a look back at your life and you realize you've always rebounded, you've always been resilient, you've always moved forward, rather than thinking it's going to be bad, you need to think back and realize, I've always done this. It will go well. It'll move in the right direction.
Exactly. And now, yeah, just because you reminded me of another great thing, because I don't know, did you see Brené Brown on Netflix?
Oh,
She has
yeah,
like a talk.
she's great. I've read all of her books.
Exactly. And that was one thing when she said, because I had it before, and suddenly it disappeared. Because you remember before, when good things happened, and then you are like, oh my God, it's going too well. I'm sure something is going to happen. Something bad is going to happen soon. No? And you always had like, not this. I had it a lot, and then suddenly it disappeared. And I didn't know. I just didn't notice. And Brené Brown talked about it, and they studied people like this, and they studied people who didn't have this. Yeah, who just, they said, no, life is good and will go on good. Why should something bad happen to me now? And then they found out what they had in common. Gratitude. Yes. So that's, and I said, wow, another one for gratitude. So, because that's also nice. It's such an antidote to everything. Everything gets better. Your relationships get better, because when do relationships get sour? When you're not grateful for your friend, for your partner anymore. At my job, I got fired, but I got at the end what I wanted, because I was not grateful at all for my job anymore. For me, it was a burden, a horrible job. I didn't want to go there. So I don't know, the universe or destiny or whatever, or just my bad attitude took care of it. I got fired. You didn't want to be here anyway. So, and it happens to many people. I don't know a lot of people in Spain. There's a lot of jobless people, and also for my friends, but I don't know anybody of my friends who said, oh God, I got fired from a job I loved. Everybody was like, so most of the time for them, it was really like also a liberation to do something that I didn't dare before. For me, it was totally.
Now you're a coach. We preach all coaches should have coaches. Who's been a big influence on your life?
Oh, I had many coaches. really also taking them like in sessions. But my influences, of course, as you said, Tony Robbins, Wayne Dyer, all those great personal development writers. But I also take coaches when I see that I get too comfortable. When I get too comfortable, or when I see where I want to go, then I look for a coach, for a mentor who has already achieved what I wanna achieve. So for me right now, it was with books, because I wanted to sell more books. So I did a course of one guy who sells loads of books. Marc Dawson is his name. He's a British. He's writing crime fiction, something totally different than mine, but he's selling like $1 million of books every year. So I'm like, okay, I'm interested. I'm gonna see. So at the moment, I concentrated a lot of that, but surely always with a coach, everything is easier. Mostly, even if it's only for accountability, because we have also this sometimes that we sacrifice more, or we are more motivated when we have somebody to be accountable to. Like, for example, for me, getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go running is very difficult. But if I ask my neighbor to go running with me at 6 o'clock in the morning, it's very easy, because I don't want to fail him, right?
Well, I'll send you a message at midnight tonight to remind you to go run at 6 a.m. since you're 6 hours ahead.
Oh yeah, you are. So I thought if you're on Kelly, that's too late, because it will be 9 o'clock. But but it's,
so
yeah.
For every guest that we have on here, I always like to ask a book that they recommend. Now, obviously, all of your books are phenomenal, but do you have a book by someone else that you would recommend the listeners check out?
Yeah, at the moment, or always, my favorite book of the last year is The Happiness Advantage from Sean Aker. Sean Aker is a researcher, a happiness researcher, and he really collected all the scientific proof that we have already about that happiness really is an advantage, that happy brains work better, are more productive, are more creative. And I love the book, because when I wrote 30 Days, I wrote it more or less out of my experience of doing the things, and say, okay, look, this works because it worked for me. And somebody could say, yeah, well, Marc, it's great, it works for you, but that doesn't mean it works for me. But then I found Sean Aker's book, or Sean Aker, I don't know how you pronounce him, and he has the science in it. He has also the science about the gratitude in it. He has the science about productivity in it. So attitude really helps. A positive attitude helps. Optimism helps. And we can train it. It's habits. It's meditation. It's going for walks. It's gratitude. That's how you get more happy. Still, like what we said in the beginning, being positive is great if it comes from the heart. But if you are faking, you're not doing yourself a favor. So but you have the tools to get there in a natural way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of, I don't care about the science so long as it works. And I know
Exactly.
For me, what comes first, gratitude or happiness?
Wow, that's a great question. I think gratitude, they go hand in hand. It's the same thing. Gratitude leads to happiness, and happiness leads to gratitude.
Yeah,
because
it's hard. It's like you said earlier, it's hard to be sad and grateful at the same time.
Exactly, really. And it's hard to be, it's also hard to be stressed and grateful at the same time. So really, gratitude is the antidote to a lot of painful emotions, which are normal, which we need, because it's like, look, today it's raining. That's the way it is. Tomorrow the sun will come out. And with our emotions, it's the same thing. So I'm not sitting here now and think, oh no, my God, now the next 3 months it's going to be raining. No, because tomorrow the sun will come out. So when I'm sad, I also don't think, oh no, my God, now I will be sad all the time. I think, yeah, I will come back. I will find my way back. I have the tools. So what is also very good sometimes is really I'm watching a lot of stand-up comedy right now, or these short videos on Facebook or YouTube, just to laugh really hard until the tears come down, because that I do before going to bed.
That's so funny. That's exactly what we do. We love watching stand-up comics because it just relaxes you. You don't have to think. I would recommend The Office to you if you've never watched The Office.
Yeah, I watched it. I probably re-watch it. I stopped in this when Michael was leaving. I stopped. So maybe now I have to watch the rest. But I was in the States the last couple of weeks, and I watch a couple of like episodes, and it's just always great, you know.
Yeah, I love it. It just relaxes me, puts me in a
Yeah.
good mood, and I agree. It's not as good when Michael leaves, but it's still pretty funny.
Cool.
Well, it's been great chatting with you. Is there anything I missed? Anything you wanted to throw out there?
No, I'm totally happy. I'm happy to have been on your podcast
Yeah,
anytime. Yeah.
hopefully we will introduce you to a new audience of CrossFitters, and in time, hopefully you and I can stay in touch. I will get you to do CrossFit yourself.
Yeah,
You will
I'm now
love it.
thinking about it. I just had to sign up. Like 400 meters over there, but it looks so exhausting. So I'm like, nah. But now maybe you can convince me.
I'm not gonna lie, it's very exhausting, but
Uh,
it's like any new habit, Mark. You just start
and
slow.
I'm old. No, I'm coming up with excuses. Now I'm old,
Ex-
although I look very young.
you know, if you go online, you'll see some phenomenal athletes in their 60s and 70s. So it's never too
That's
late.
it.
It's never too
It
late.
is that's what I always say. When people have excuses, I'm too old or too young, you just go to Google and your excuse explodes in your face, because there's always somebody old who is doing it or somebody young who is doing it, and it's great. Because at the
Exactly.
end, yeah,
Well, I really appreciate you coming on. It's been great. I look forward to reading all of your books. I know it's from the series, right? Change Your Habits, Change Your Life.
thanks.
And
Yes,
I look forward to reading it all. And you can find Mark on his website, and I'll post all of those links. But it's been a pleasure.
for me too. Great, and we are in touch.
Auf
Greetings to
Wiedersehen.
all of our listeners. Tschüss.